your frequency and the energy that you emit literally has an effect on people next to you in your life unconsciously. We pick up on this all the time. That's why if you walk into a room with a bunch of happy people, you're going to feel their energy as soon as you walk in the room. But if you walk into a jail or a prison, or you walk into some place with a bunch of negative people, immediately you feel something. You feel it, right? It happens consciously and unconsciously, but your frequency is a real thing. And scientists are measuring this based on this technology that they have. Welcome back to the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Crane. We're down here at the Castle in Pierpont. Shout out Wonder Mouse Productions. So man, I want to share something with you that was powerful that I heard from Gary Brecka. If you guys don't know who Gary Brecka is, I just heard him speak at Ken Jocelyn's event, Create, in Atlanta. And I met Gary about a year and a half ago at Bradley's office. I was going in there to do Dropping Bombs, an interview on Bradley's podcast. And Gary was getting interviewed right before me. And this is when he started to blow up. I think Grant Cardone had just acquired his company, and then they were creating 10X Health together. If you guys haven't checked out 10X Health, you should Google it right now. I mean, the stuff that they're doing related to medicine, healing people, and just literally like doing things the right way, not the way the pharmaceutical companies do or modern medicine, like actually resolving people's core issues, not just addressing symptoms. Like they're getting down to the core cause of things like migraines, high blood pressure, stomach issues. I mean, all these ailments, anxiety, depression, ADHD, all these things that are symptoms that, you know, modern medicine, they address the symptoms, right? And pharmaceutical companies give you pills, but it doesn't cure it. It doesn't cure any of this stuff. So Gary Brecka is talking about all of this on stage, and he's incredible, man. You know, when I first met him, I knew he was incredible, and then seeing him speak on stage, he just blew my mind. And I talked to him after. I'm like, dude, you're making science like cool, like sexy. Like this makes people understand what's going on in their bodies. You're educating them in a way that they're intrigued about this stuff. You know, it's not just like boring Mr. Bill Nye, the science guy back in 7th grade. And I told him that. I was like, Gary Brecka, you are like Bill Nye, the science guy, but you're the cool version. And he's an awesome person, man. And he said something else that was really profound on stage, and I want to talk about that briefly. He was talking about authenticity and how, you know, your emotional state puts off an energy. It emits an energy, and that's what we talk about when we say your frequency. So things like guilt, shame, anger, those are low frequency emotions, and they can be measured. Scientists have devices, they have technology to measure the frequency that you emit. So low level emotions, low frequency emotions like anger, shame, guilt, you know, those things are not favorable to us, right? Obviously, when you're in a low emotional state like that, a low frequency state, you know, stress takes a toll on you. You're irritable, you're unhappy, you're a worse version for the people around you. And so he talked about like when you become happier and when you're feeling joy or feeling satisfaction, your frequency, it elevates. And then things like love and gratitude are the highest frequency states we experience. But he goes, you know what is 10 times more potent than love when measured by these devices? And everyone's like thinking about it in the audience as Gary said this. And he goes, authenticity is 10 times more potent. The frequency that you emit through authenticity, being yourself, is 10 times greater than the highest emotional state that most people experience. And that just blew my mind, and it confirmed so much of what we know. Like when you meet people who are just real and genuine, you just want to be around them. You just have this like unconscious connection or desire to listen to them, to talk with them, to be around them. And then the opposite is true. If you're around people that seem disingenuous, that seem self-serving, that they just seem shady, or there's something about them that you can't really put your finger on, but you can feel, you don't want to be around them, right? It's because your frequency and the energy that you emit literally has an effect on people next to you in your life unconsciously. We pick up on this all the time. That's why if you walk into a room with a bunch of happy people, you're going to feel their energy as soon as you walk in the room. But if you walk into a jail or a prison, or you walk into some place with a bunch of negative people, immediately you feel something. You feel it, right? It happens consciously and unconsciously, but your frequency is a real thing. And scientists are measuring this based on this technology that they have. And so why is this important? Why am I sharing this with you? Well, first of all, the bit about authenticity I thought was awesome. So if you're somebody online, you're a coach, consultant, you have a brand, be authentic. That's your superpower. Don't copy other people. Don't do what other people are doing. Don't regurgitate the same message. Tell your story. Be yourself. Stand for something. Share your beliefs. Stand by your opinion. Be yourself. And when you do that, people are going to receive your message more. They're going to be drawn to you more. They're going to be attracted to what you're doing more, and they're more likely to want to do business with you. Now, the second thing, and this is something I teach my clients all the time. When I have a man who reaches out to me and he's like, Sean, I'm not happy. I'm not keeping promises to myself. I'm overweight. I feel sluggish. I lack discipline, and it's carrying over into my life, my marriage, my business. Can you help me? Can you fix me? The first thing that we do is start helping them to elevate out of this low frequency state that they're in. Because chances are they have some guilt, some shame behind the way they're feeling, the way they look, the way they're living. And so when you're in that low frequency state, you lack clarity, you lack inspiration, you lack motivation, and you're just going through life begrudgingly, like a slug, right? So the first thing we do is we start helping them to shift that, to change that, simply by just keeping promises to themselves every day that get them out of that state of shame and regret. Right? So when you keep promises to yourself, you start to feel good about who you are. You start to elevate your frequency. And when you elevate your frequency, everything around you starts to change. Suddenly you have more energy, more motivation. You're greeting people when you walk into your business, or, you open the door for somebody. You're nicer to your wife and kids. You feel happier because you're not ashamed of breaking those promises. You're not ashamed of falling off your New Year's resolution. You're not ashamed of skipping out on the gym. You're not ashamed of watching porn. You're not ashamed of eating that crappy food or doing all these things that put you in that low frequency state that sabotage who you want to become. So the simplest, most effective way to shift this internal frequency that you possess is keeping promises to yourself. 3 things that I've seen have a massive impact on the men that I work with is their wake-up time, daily workouts, and tracking their calories. Those 3 things all align to a better version of themselves, the men that they want to be. Then over time, we add more daily non-negotiables, like reading certain books, right? Like certain actions they take in work, certain things they're doing on social media, certain times that they're spending with their family, or non-negotiable routines they have at home. Like then you can start to add stuff on. But early on, you just want to start to set the foundation and start to shift this way that you're feeling about yourself internally. And over time, what happens is you start to feel better about who you are. You start to live in alignment with the person that you want to be. You start living authentically as the man that you're being called to be. See, you all have a purpose and a feeling, a calling in your heart of the person you want to be. That's your true and authentic self. That's the person that's living at the highest level possible. All your thoughts, all your actions are in alignment with your conscience. Guess what happens in your relationships? Guess what happens in business? Guess what happens when you're engaging with people in the community or your family members or a birthday party? Like people feel that from you. You can't hide it. Your face, your eyes, your body language, everything about the way you're living is going to showcase that confidence, that love, that inner conviction. You're tapped in and people see it and they feel it. And so over time, by you just starting to live in alignment with who you want to be, taking actions to better yourself every single day, you're going to have a massive ripple effect on everyone's life around you. And you're going to show them what's possible. So if you're somebody that's struggling, if you're somebody that's new to making changes, if you're somebody that's sabotaged in times past, simply start with your wake-up time, daily workouts, and tracking your calories. It might sound trivial to some or silly. You're like, I don't want to track my calories. What's that going to do? Well, do you look at your app for your bank account to see how much money you have in there? Yeah. How often? Every day, right? Because it's important to know how much money you have in your bank account so you don't become homeless, so you don't miss a payment, right? So you don't end up getting in trouble with like back due payments or past due payments. Yeah, it's important to you. Well, how about your physique? How about your health? How about your energy? How about your vitality? When you track your calories, what are you doing? You're seeing what you put in your body and how it's affecting your ability to maintain a healthy physique. So if you want to build muscle, lose body fat, or you just want to improve your health over time, you want to know how much calories you're eating, how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat. Otherwise, you're probably missing the mark. And that's probably why you feel sluggish. You're probably putting foods in your body that aren't the best. You're probably overeating. You're probably under consuming protein. Track your damn calories, and I guarantee your body's going to start to look better, and that's going to start to make you feel more proud of who you are because you're giving effort to sculpting a physique you're proud of. You're giving effort to walking around in a body that you love, not just neglecting it and sabotaging it. This isn't you being egocentric. This isn't you being self-absorbed. It's you taking pride in who you are and knowing that your body is a catalyst for improvements you make in other parts of your life and how you show up. Your body is a catalyst for the energy that you bring forth to your relationships. Your body is a catalyst for every facet of life. So treat it as such. Then working out. You should work out every day. Why? Because that naturally is going to elevate your frequency. When I work out in the morning, immediately I feel more sharp, more crisp, more focused. And I feel better about myself because I did something that was hard. I did something productive, and it changes the way I show up in my life. I feel better about myself. Therefore, other people feel that same energy. The love and affinity I have for self, other people feel that too. Okay. And then the early wake up time. Simply put, you need discipline. Most people lack discipline. Most people break promises to themselves. That's why they stay in a state of shame and regret. You have to shift that. You have to change that. That means you need discipline and you need to work that willpower muscle daily. 99% of people out there just lack discipline and they break promises to themselves and they wonder why they feel like crap. It's because you're putting yourself in a state of shame, guilt, and regret for not doing what your heart's calling you to do. Therefore, you feel bad about your life. Therefore, you don't have clarity, motivation, and you stay stuck. The quickest way to shift that is developing discipline by getting up early when you don't want to, proving to yourself that you're going to make this change, that you want that new life more than you want sleep. I talk about this all the time because it's so powerful in how it makes you feel. It's so powerful in facilitating the shift that needs to take place internally. You see, I opened up talking about frequency and your internal state because that's where the transformation begins. It's not the muscles. It's not the bank account. It's nothing external. It's internal. And you have to focus every day on enacting that internal shift and change if you want to see the outward expression of that. That's your results. That's your money, your success, your relationships, your physique. Those are the things that people see, but your transformation begins much sooner than those external results. If you're somebody that wants to change your life, start taking action today. Another day that you waste is one that you'll never get back, and you're made for more.